without further ado, Ralph Wilcox.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, President Teague, for those kind words and for the deeply valued and constructive leadership that you and your colleagues in the Faculty Senate bring to the USF community. Again, good afternoon, and welcome everyone to the 2013 Faculty Assembly and the 6th fall address that I have had the privilege of delivering here at the University of South Florida. This is always an exciting time as we welcome new and returning faculty, staff, and students to the beginning of another academic year, prompting us perhaps to reflect on the remarkable accomplishments of the past and to contemplate new opportunities that lie ahead. Before I begin my remarks, please let me introduce, if you will, some key members of the USF leadership team that are joining us this afternoon. I ask that they please stand and be recognized as I introduce them. Of course, one, and the most important one, has already been introduced, President Judy Genshaft. As many of you know, President Genshaft is beginning, I think, her 14th year at the helm, and she's the chief architect of USF's rapid emergence as a global research university. Now, forgive me if I miss anyone here, but I'm going to move down the list, starting with Trustee Mark Lombardi Nelson. Mark, if you would please stand. Mark is our student trustee, and we're delighted to welcome him, a student in business and entrepreneurship at USF St. Petersburg. Wonderful to have you here. Paul Sandberg, our Senior Vice President for Research and Innovation. Paul's not with us yet. John Long, Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. Sitting next to him, Nick Travinovich, our Vice President and CFO. Sandy Lovins, our Vice President for Administration. I'm hoping he's here, but he may be taking good care of students at the moment. Tom Miller, our Interim Vice President for Student Affairs. Tom's I think overseeing a class photo shoot at the moment of our students, so perhaps he'll join us in a little while. Donna Peterson. Donna, were you able to? Oh, that's right. She's on her way to Canada at this moment in time. Steve Prevost, our General Counsel. Steve. Jose Hernandez, our Chief Diversity Officer. Dwayne Smith, Senior Vice Provost and Dean of Graduate Studies. Paul Dosal, our Vice Provost for Student Success. Graham Tobin, Vice Provost for Strategic and Budget Planning. Roger Brindley, Vice Provost. He has the longest title, Vice Provost and System Associate Vice President for USF World. Roger, good to have you here. And to our deans, Jackie Dixon, Dean of Marine Science. Eric Eisenberg, he must be hiding out there somewhere. Eric? He better be hiding out there somewhere. Okay. Bill Garrison, Dean of our Libraries. Diane Morrison-Beatty. Diane, great to have you here. Dean of Nursing. Dean of our College of Nursing. James Moy, Dean of the College of the Arts. Rafael Perez. Rafael? Not with us, Interim Dean of Engineering. Julie Surovich. For those of you that may have missed it, Dean Surovich just gave an amazing, inspirational presentation about research activities in the College of Behavioral and Community Sciences this morning to our Board of Trustees. Thank you, Julie. Stu Silverman, Dean of the Honors College. Kevin Sneed, Dean of Pharmacy, not able to be with us. Bob Sullins, Dean of Undergraduate Studies. Our newest Dean, Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Vasti Torres. And Dean of the Patel College of Global Sustainability, Carla Varavamorthy. Did I miss anyone? I saw the activity out there. I knew I missed it. Yes, you still have a job. Moez Limeam, Dean of the College of Business. It's my sincere privilege to work with this talented team of colleagues as together we serve the needs of the students, staff, and faculty while continuing to advance USF's profile and influence throughout the global higher education sector. So let me just start off by providing some reflections on the 2012-2013 academic year. Certainly saw USF continue to build upon the accolades of the past decade across our key strategic priorities of research, student success, and global engagement. In research, USF's recognized interdisciplinary strengths in diabetes and autoimmune disorders, in neurosciences, sustainability, and veterans reintegration provided a firm foundation as the university climbed to unprecedented heights in competitive funding and realized newfound acclaim when the National Science Foundation ranked us in the top 50 public and private universities on the basis of both total and federal research expenditures. The quality and the breadth of scholarly and creative activity contributed by faculty and students across our academic community further complemented and cemented USF's position as a global research university and one with real-world impact. I am particularly proud of the fact, once again, USF researchers led the state of Florida in return on investment, averaging a full $336,000 in research funding per tenured or tenure-earning faculty member. Well ahead, I must say, than our colleagues in Gainesville, Miami, and Tallahassee. While your achievements are far too many to mention in this arena, and as you know, I have sought to highlight the remarkable accomplishments of many of our leading scientists, scholars, and artists in the past, I do want to make mention of the selection of USF's assistant professors, Cameron Ainsworth from the College of Marine Science, and Jiangfang Shao from Physics, who were the only representatives from a Florida college or university named among just 126 Alfred P. Sloan Foundation Research Fellows nationwide in 2013. If either of you are here, would you please stand and be recognized? Moreover, I would be remiss if I failed to acknowledge the 15 USF faculty members who were elected as fellows of the American Association for the Advancement of Science last fall, the most of any Florida institution and the fourth highest number of any organization worldwide. Would you please stand if any of you are with us? Meanwhile, our professors continue to make meaningful contributions to the scientific literature, including publishing their work in Nature, Science, and other prestigious journals. This year, Matthew Pasek and Jonathan Wynn, both from geology and now the New School of Geosciences, Christina Schmidt from cell, molecular, and microbiology, David Lewis from integrative biology, and John Skavoritz from sociology, all saw their work appear in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Congratulations to all of you. At the same time, we must not overlook our important scholarly contributions in the arts and humanities as you continue to do what you do best, creating new knowledge and seeking innovative solutions to complex problems that have confounded us in the contemporary world. As we well recognize, it is most often through the liberal arts that our students develop the knowledge and competencies that a growing number of future employers argue are essential to assuring this nation's competitive position in the global marketplace of ideas. Critical thinking, initiative, analytical, debating and synthesizing skills, creative problem solving, ingenuity, innovation, and entrepreneurship, proficiency in written and oral communication, including through the embrace of social media, global literacy, as well as collaboration and teamwork. Strange then, some may think, that USF's burgeoning educational and research reputation fell short of the Florida legislature's performance threshold for preeminence earlier this year. But then again, so would 57 of 60 public and private AAU institutions nationwide, including Caltech, Indiana University, Princeton, Stanford, the University of Virginia, the University of Texas at Austin, and Yale. I hope that you share in my pride and celebrate your collective accomplishments as you continue your valued contributions to uncover the truth, serve the public good, and improve the health, economic, and educational well-being of the communities we serve. USF is a research powerhouse, and you should rest assured that President Genschaft, myself, and others will continue to advocate tirelessly for the recognition and the support that you so richly deserve. While it is our research profile that differentiates us from many universities in Florida and beyond, as you know, our efforts in preparing well-educated and highly skilled leaders for the future has picked up steam in recent years. We anticipate that the selectivity profile of our fall 2013 freshman class will again exceed all prior groups as we can contribute further to the ethnic, cultural, and geographical diversity of our campus community. During the past year, we witnessed strong student retention and progression, along with the most satisfying bump in graduation rates, as we awarded 10,528 degrees at the University of South Florida, and of course, many more across the USF system. An all-time high for us, and one that bodes well for employers in the Tampa Bay region and across the state of Florida. These gains were quite intentional and the product of a concerted and sustained effort to improve student success. From the documented impact of the Smart Lab to the Anytime, Anywhere Learning Initiative for student athletes that was selected as an Apple Distinguished Program, to our new Bull to Bull financial literacy and counseling program, along with the implementation of DegreeWorks, a user-friendly degree audit, and the academic tracking leading to academic success, or ATLAS program, to monitor a student's progress along the 8-semester degree path. Our broad-based commitment to student success continues at every level. Changes announced in the Office of Graduate Studies are expected to lead us to redoubling our advocacy for graduate education, refocusing our attention on academic quality assurance of our graduate programs, enhancing student support and services, and streamlining processes, eliminating unnecessary bureaucracy, and reducing administrative costs. Throughout the past year, and with help from the Office of National Scholarships, USF students have continued to distinguish themselves by earning more nationally competitive awards and scholarships than their peers at any other university in Florida, bringing our count to nearly 100 over the past 2 years alone. From Fulbrights to Gilmans, Goldwaters, Madisons, Marshalls, and Udalls, for the first time this year, a USF student, Christy Kampler, a former Goldwater scholar, won a highly selective National Institutes of Health Oxford-Cambridge scholarship. Last year's list also included 2 prestigious Tillman scholarships. We have 3 more this year out of just 60 awarded nationally to returning veterans, second only to Harvard and George Washington University, who had 4 each this year. I think we have some of them in the audience, and if you would please stand and be recognized. Of course, none of this should be surprising, given USF's ranking by Military Times magazine as the 4th most veteran-friendly university in the nation. As you recognize, while our students are truly talented, and by the way, I urge you to hire them at every opportunity, they would not have achieved these accolades without your selfless dedication and mentoring. And we will continue to seek new opportunities for our students, such as our 3+3 partnership announced earlier this year with Stetson University College of Law, which now offers qualified USF students an expedited path to a JD, along with generous scholarships. Nothing is more obvious then than the fact that our student success is a measure of your success and that of our dedicated staff. At this juncture, I would like to recognize once again Orta Kaur, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, who was honored last fall as USF Professor of the Year for doctoral granting universities. And more recently, Miranda Sloan, Graduate Academic Advisor in the College of Education, was named recipient of the Wesley R. Habley Summer Institute Scholarship by the National Academic Advising Association. Miranda, are you with us? Thank you for all that you do, and congratulations. It's through the collective efforts of USF's passionate faculty and dedicated staff that our students are now accelerating at a higher rate to graduation and competing more successfully in the workplace and along the path to graduate school. For that, I want to express my deepest appreciation and urge you to continue to both challenge and support our students as they aspire to even greater heights in the year to come. While nothing is more important than our institutional achievements in research and student success, they are accomplished against a strategic backdrop of global engagement. Consistent with our plan for the future and bolstered by a growing number of students progressing from our innovative and successful Into USF program, the 2013 academic year saw a 20% increase in the number of non-resident, that's out-of-state and international students, enrolled over the prior year. With well over 2,000 international students making USF their academic home today, they now account for 5% of our student population. We, of course, expect even more this fall as we move toward a strategic goal of 4,000, or 10% of our student population by 2018. As we have argued for many years, we believe sincerely that a more geographically diverse student body can only enhance the quality and relevance of a USF education, while at the same time extending USF's brand presence around the world. With increasing numbers of international students and scholars attracted to our academic community, and more USF professors joining forces with colleagues around the world to participate in international research collaborations, we are also witnessing more USF students and scholars exploring the world through education abroad and student exchange. It will be important for the USF community to prepare for this changing student demographic, to better understand and respond to the needs of a more geographically diverse student body. Perhaps a good example of how students, faculty, and staff have collaborated to create a welcoming and environmentally friendly climate on campus resulted in USF's recent selection to the Princeton Review's Green Ratings Honor Roll for 2014. USF is one of only 22 colleges out of 832 surveyed to receive the highest rating based upon data addressing sustainability-related practices, policies, research, and academic offerings. The rapid ascent of USF World has not gone unnoticed either, as our Ghana Scholars Program received an honorable mention for this year's Andrew High School Award given by the Institute for International Education. And more importantly, USF was selected as recipient of the 2013 Senator Paul Simon Award for Campus Internationalization by NAFSA, the Association of International Educators. Quite clearly, our multidimensional global interconnectedness has rapidly become a part of USF's DNA, essential, if you will, to preparing a globally competent generation of graduates and partnering with colleagues worldwide to advance our research agenda. At the same time, we recognize the competitive advantages that the Tampa Bay region provides our university through spawning mutually beneficial partnerships with the likes of Citi, Delta, Draper Labs, FedEx, Jabil Circuits, Nielsen, SRI, and the Villages, as well as school districts, local government, and not-for-profits. With a mind to strengthening such collaborations, USF unveiled a Partner with USF website earlier this year at the urging of President Genschaft to promote higher education opportunities, experiential learning via internships, residencies, and co-ops for students, employment opportunities for our graduates, as well as more research and consulting services to partners in our community. While 2012-13 was yet another banner year for the University of South Florida, all these achievements come at a price and require essential and continuing investments in our students, our professors, and the broader priorities of the university's strategic plan. With state appropriations reduced last year and student tuition remaining among the lowest in the nation, providing unparalleled value, I might add, in higher education in Florida, we must continue our search for new and sustainable sources of revenue to support our mission and maintain our competitive position across the higher education sector. Again, our burgeoning research enterprise, community-based partnerships, and auxiliary operations contribute a growing share of our budget and, along with our philanthropic efforts, constitute important elements of USF's financial future. Launched in October 2009, USF's Unstoppable fundraising campaign, led by Joel Momberg, Senior Vice President for Advancement and Alumni Affairs, recently surpassed its original goal and has now raised upward of $621 million, providing much needed support for new buildings and academic enhancements. The sustaining investments in student scholarships, along with endowed faculty chairs and professorships, are equally essential to USF's future. And we will not stop there as our fundraising efforts continue. And so, with the exciting gains of the past year, it should come as no surprise that our theme for the 2013-2018 strategic plan is a global research university dedicated to student success. This plan lays out a clear, prioritized, and accountable path to the future, framed around leveraging our greatest assets, human potential and intellectual talent. In the coming years, advanced research will continue to grow, and I expect to see the continuing emergence of high-impact research across the disciplines, and in particular, via the Center for Drug Discovery and Innovation, the Humanities Institute, the recently established Natural Hazards Network, biomedical engineering, heart health, oceanography, STEM education, along with secure and innovative computing and data assurance consistent with state legislation providing for the future establishment of the Florida Center for Cybersecurity at the University of South Florida. What's most noticeable about USF's research portfolio, and is a characteristic that has served the university well in recent years, is the relevance and the impact that the work of our faculty and our students has in the communities we serve. This is a powerful hallmark of which we can all be proud. In the coming year, our student success initiatives will continue to position USF as a model institution for improving college readiness, access, persistence, and degree completion, as well as improving prospects for employment and the passage to graduate school. They also promise to raise satisfaction and reduce student indebtedness for a diverse student population. Above all, the broader USF community now accepts that student success is everyone's responsibility. We must continue to underscore and embrace that core principle. I expect that we will continue to see greater geographical diversity as the scholarly profile and success of our students maintain an upward track. And we will explore the utility of big data and predictive analytics to help shape personalized pathways to learning. We anticipate, too, that demand for access to USF will continue to be strong. And while our student headcount will likely remain at approximately 40,000 students on this campus, we will move ever closer to bringing graduate student headcount and FTE to 25% of the total enrollment. Of course, with retention and graduation rates continuing to climb, strategic enrollment planning becomes increasingly challenging. In particular, a growing demand for classes and the opportunity for increased tuition revenues suggests the need for expanding non-traditional modes of academic delivery. Last year, we saw an 11% increase in online enrollment across the USF system compared to the prior year, generating $4 million or more in tuition and fees. In the coming year, we should anticipate increased demand and increased competition, especially as the legislatively funded Institute for Online Learning ramps up. I'll be quite blunt. If we fail to respond to our students' needs, they will look elsewhere. Accordingly, Innovative Education, formerly University College, has structured a revenue-sharing plan that provides faculty members and colleges with the resources and the support necessary to move new and high-demand courses from a traditional to an online delivery platform. Even as we respond to these tectonic shifts in the higher education marketplace, our focus must remain squarely on academic quality assurance and preparing for our next reaffirmation of regional accreditation by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, SACS, scheduled for 2015. This is not negotiable. Please stay tuned as we complete our institutional self-study over the next year and advance our quality enhancement plan, which, at the unanimous recommendation of the SACS QEP steering committee earlier this week, will center on the Global Citizen Project. Yes, these continue to be interesting times for universities in Florida and beyond, as higher education wrestles with the impact of external forces. It is clear that we're being held to higher levels of public and private scrutiny and accountability than ever before. Some may even suggest that it borders on intrusion. Yet, as I've urged before, we have a responsibility to those investing in higher education, particularly taxpayers, our students, and their families. We must continue our thoughtful and deliberative assessment of degree productivity, proceeding, when appropriate, to terminate programs that suggest low demand, low productivity, and may not be aligned with our strategic priorities. We will conclude our review of those learning outcomes associated with 4 credit-hour courses that might more appropriately be assigned fewer credits, especially when the same course is delivered at other public universities in Florida for lower credit. And when tenured faculty are not demonstrating appropriate and sustained levels of scholarly productivity, then they cannot reasonably argue for anything less than a full-time instructional assignment. I congratulate the Faculty Senate for its advocacy and oversight of classroom capture and student online assessment of instruction, two very important initiatives intended to strengthen student success. And I look forward to receiving recommendations from the Faculty Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Review and Revision of the Tenure and Promotion Guidelines. The active engagement and leadership of elected faculty representatives in such important matters underscores the value that we place on the principle of shared governance in the Academy. As you may recall, I've been sounding the caution bell about the changing fiscal reality in higher education, especially public higher education, over the past several years. It's worth reflecting that 2 years ago, in August of 2011, I suggested to you, and I quote, "When we entered the Great Recession, we adopted a balanced and measured plan to identify efficiencies and to eliminate non-essential expenditures, to seek new streams of revenue, and to judiciously allocate cash reserves and subsequently federal economic stimulus funds to bridge or offset our budget deficit." I continued, "Alas, it is now clear," and that was 2 years ago, "that a continuing dependence on non-recurring reserve funds to fill the gap is not sustainable." And I added, "We can't simply bury our heads in the sand and nostalgically dream of a return to public higher education's salad days. We might do well to heed H.G. Wells' advice to adapt or perish." And last year, at the same time, as we were anticipating the start of the Republican National Convention here in Tampa and a visit from Tropical Storm Isaac, I mused that we were in the midst of, and again I quote, "an uncertain, turbulent, and even tumultuous time as the continuing local and global economic malaise has ushered in a new chapter of challenges and critique for the higher education sector, characterized by some as archaic, wasteful, irrelevant, misguided, and resistant to change." And once again, at that time, I urged us all to think differently as we confronted a new normal in higher education. Today, like it or not, we must face up to that changing fiscal reality. During the past few weeks, President Genschaft, in letters to the University of South Florida community, has well articulated the need for, and again I quote, "reducing spending and increasing revenue to allow us to enjoy a secure financial future." Planned action will include the creation of a talent retention fund to reward high-performing faculty and staff. We must also work, President Genschaft added, at restoring the critical cash reserves depleted in years of state funding cuts. Following consultation with key stakeholders, President Genschaft now expects the restoration of cash reserves and the realignment of our base budget to occur over a multi-year term. I strongly support President Genschaft's measured approach that will place the USF system on a more robust financial footing in the coming years. And I know that our deans are eager to move forward and play their respective parts in advancing our university's strategic progress within these fiscal parameters. Financial challenges are nothing new to those of us in higher education. And it is worthwhile noting that in spite of a significant reduction in state investment in higher education since 2007-2008, a reality faced by most universities across Florida and throughout the nation, President Genschaft and I have, over the years, argued strongly and consistently for the need to preserve tenured and tenure-earning faculty positions, along with academic departments and programs. Indeed, we are the only research university in Florida to have done so. Today, we're in the midst of a paradigm shift. And as USF continues to strengthen its financial base over the next 3 years, likely actions will include, but will not be limited to, a mix of continuing cost containment, new revenue generation, and strategic reinvestment initiatives across our community. We'll continue to identify, freeze, or eliminate inefficient, non-essential, and non-strategic centers, programs, and positions at the university. We'll continue to explore greater administrative efficiencies through improved business processes and centralized support services. We will likely come to depend on fewer, more highly skilled and more highly paid staff members. We must optimize faculty instructional assignments and adjust the faculty mix. Continue to grow student credit hours without increasing headcount, including through changing the enrollment mix at the university. We will also be looking to reduce the array of general education and elective courses to improve efficiencies in delivery. Generate additional revenues, particularly through online, market-based, and cost recovery models. And transform summer school. Above all, this must be accomplished while advancing both faculty and student success. We need you, the faculty, to continue to think out of the box and bring your most innovative ideas to the table. As we know, the story of American higher education in recent years has been one characterized, as I mentioned earlier, by both turbulence and uncertainty. From academically adrift to crisis on campus, going broke by degree, declining by degrees, and excellence without a soul. The story about Harvard, how a great university forgot about education. The New York Times bestseller list has not been particularly kind to the American university of late, and the central value of a higher education is being widely questioned. For many of us, it's sometimes difficult to understand the skepticism surrounding an institution that has become the envy of so many around the world. At the same time, the likes of the Minerva Project, University Now, the Free University of the People, Udacity, and Coursera, armed with their ever more ubiquitous MOOCs, threaten to disrupt and even unseat, or, as they claim, or so they claim, the most prestigious of ivy-clad higher education institutions in North America. Even as I previously framed the key priorities in Florida higher education around access, affordability, and accountability, performance-based funding is becoming a reality. And we will do well to keep a watchful eye on the employment and/or progress to graduate school of our graduates, their earnings, and the cost of education, all measures tied to future funding for Florida's universities. The notion of performance-based funding appears to cross the political aisle. Interestingly, just this morning, at 6 o'clock, the White House released President Obama's latest plan for making college more affordable. It includes the following proposals: creation of a new rating system for universities and colleges based on such performance outcomes as graduation rates and graduate earnings, affordability and access, including the percentage of students receiving Pell Grants at any institution. It also recommended linking federal financial aid to these ratings. For instance, tying the amount of a Pell Award and the rate of a student loan to a university's performance. Creating a new program that would award a bonus to those universities enrolling large numbers of Pell Grant recipients. We like that one. Along with stricter requirements for students who are receiving federal financial aid. All this, I should add, while the President acknowledges, and I quote, that declining state funding has been the biggest reason for rising tuition at public universities in this nation. I know that many lament the rapid commodification or even privatization of public higher education and the concomitant shift, some might suggest, from serving the public good to providing private, individual, and corporate gain. One such critic is David Boren, former governor of Oklahoma, US Senator, and now president of the University of Oklahoma, who earlier this year suggested that, and you can read without any debate and without anyone in the country realizing it, we are slowly doing away with public higher education in the United States. Robert Gates, former Secretary of Defense, CIA Director, and President of Texas A&M University, raised the critique to another level, recently writing that over the past generation, we have seen a gradual abandonment of the principle that higher education is a public good, and the emergence of a view that it is a private consumer good. And he went on, everyone will pay the price for shortchanging education, research, and other investments in the future. It will be felt in the decline of America's quality of life, standards of living, and global influence. Boren and Gates may not be wrong. Late last month, the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities, APLU, and AAU issued a fact sheet on what they termed this nation's innovation deficit, pointing out the rapid gains, including the numbers of degrees awarded and patents awarded, that other nations are reporting through a dramatically increasing scope of investment in higher education, delivery, and research. For some, it represents a serious threat to our national security. Yet, as the change agenda accelerates in higher education, it behooves us to remain mindful and agile in our response, guided by a commitment to neither compromise on quality nor to undo the immense progress we've made over time as we seek to optimize USF's human potential and leverage technology to promote innovation. And so, by way of conclusion, I hope that our agenda for the coming year has become clearer to all of you. Guided by USF's strategic plan for 2013-2018, we will need to work together to raise our game once again in external research funding and scholarly outputs, reaffirming our position as a global research university. We will continue to recruit, reward, retain, and optimize the performance of talent, world-class faculty, gifted students, along with dedicated and professional staff. We will maintain our impressive gains in student success, in part through examining the utility of big data and predictive analytics and personalized learning. We will change the student enrollment mix with regard to undergraduate and graduate, in-state and out-of-state, and international ratios. We'll need to invest in and expand innovative education, online, cost recovery, market-based programs, and summer school beginning in 2014. We must grow experiential education through more internships, residencies, and cooperative education in partnership with business and industry to better position our graduates for success. We'll frame the future of the Florida Center for Cybersecurity right here at the University of South Florida, all while we strengthen our financial profile and prepare for SAC's reaffirmation in 2015. It's a big agenda, and it's true that we're facing significant headwinds still on our path to AAU eligibility. Yet I, for one, remain confident that in working together, we will show the laser-like focus, the dogged determination, and resultant gains that have become characteristic of USF and our remarkable rise as a global research university dedicated to student success. Thank you.